Hi and welcome to another Mellel video tutorial. In this tutorial we'll discuss Hebrew and right to left and other stuff which relates to Hebrew. Some of the information here may be applicable to other languages, certainly Arabic, but also other languages which use a different keyboard. So the first thing we want to do if we want to work in Hebrew is to activate the Hebrew keyboard layout, and we do this by opening System Preferences. So I'll do that. Now here I click Language and Text. Now before we actually do it, I'll discuss this first screen, the first screen of Language and Text, called Language. And some people make the mistake and think that this is related to typing in Hebrew or doing anything in Hebrew, and you have to drag Hebrew to the top or so on, and this is not the case. This is just to set the language of the menus and the buttons and all this stuff of the user interface, and it has nothing to do with the ability to type and work in Hebrew. So if you don't wanna have menus in Hebrew, don't touch this part of the panel. What you need to do is to click the Input Sources tab, and here you have a list of keyboard layouts. We'll scroll down and find Hebrew, and when we find Hebrew we'll find three types of keyboards, and this is which one to use is a matter of personal preference. The first one, Hebrew, is the normal Hebrew keyboard that you would use in Israel. So people who are used to the keyboard layout in Israel need to choose that. Hebrew PC is the layout more like a PC for people who may have a switch from a PC. But it's very close to Hebrew. Hebrew QWERTY is a layout that is more suitable for people who never used a keyboard in Hebrew keyboard in Israel, and they want transliteration. They want the letters in the Latin letters to match the Hebrew letters. So if you type A, it will say Aleph. If you type B, it will say B, and so on. So if you never used the Hebrew keyboard in Israel, by all means choose the Hebrew QWERTY. It's much easier. But I'll choose Hebrew because I'm actually used to typing Hebrew in Israel in the normal keyboards. So I'll choose that. Now, once I activated the Hebrew keyboard layout, the input menu at the top is activated, and I can choose here US or Hebrew. Now I can also set up switching between Hebrew and US. I'll show you in a minute how I do that. I can also set up a keyboard shortcut for doing that. So I'll press keyboard shortcuts, and here I'll choose keyboard and text, and I'll select the previous input source. Now once I did that, it shows me a little yellow triangle warning me that this shortcut is already used, and that's true because Spotlight is using the command space shortcut. So if you want to use this shortcut, you have to turn off the shortcut in Spotlight. I'll do that. I'll click Spotlight, and then I'll uncheck the Show Spotlight search field. So now command space will switch between Hebrew and English. I'll show you in a bit how it works. So this is how you activate the Hebrew keyboard layout. Now let's go to Mellel. And let's type some text. So I'll choose Hebrew and type. No problem here. If I want to switch back to English, I choose US in the input menu. I can also type command space to switch between the keyboard layout. So now I'm in the English keyboard layout. I will choose the Hebrew one, command space, and as you can see, the keyboard layout has changed. So this is how you type and switch between keyboards. Now the next subject is vowels, or nikud, or points, or whatever you call it. How do we do that? I'll switch to a bigger font so we can see it more clearly. You type the vowels by doing the following thing. First, you type the letter you want to attach the vowel onto. And then you press Option and then hold the Option and type one of the numbers at the top row of the keyboard. So for example, here I type bet. I want to add shva to this bet, so I'll press Option 0 and it will show me the shva. Now I'll type reish. Now I want to add tzere to this letter. Option 5 will do that. Aleph and then shin. I want to attach a chirik to this, so Option 4 produces the chirik. Yud and then taf. And here I have Bereshit, the first word in the Bible. So this is how you type vowels. Now there's another option, I'll show you that. If you want to first type the word and then add the vowels, you can do that. Just place the cursor right after the letter you want to attach the vowel to. Right after, from right to left, is on the letters left. So here I am after the bet. Type Option 0 and it adds the shva. I'll move the cursor using the arrow key or by clicking with the mouse. Next, after the reish, Option 5, then after the shin, Option 4, and there you have it. This is how you type vowels. Now, I said all those things. I said Option 0 and so on. This might be slightly different on the Hebrew QWERTY layout, and you don't have to memorize this. You can always refer to the keyboard viewer, which shows you what to type. But on Mountain Lion, you have to actually activate the keyboard viewer before you can use it. So I'll show you how to do that. You go to System Preferences, Language and Text, Input Sources, and then you click Keyboard and Character Viewers. And once I did that, I can choose Show Keyboard Viewer. And the keyboard viewer shows me what each character will type. I can actually click it and to type the characters. Now if I press Option, it will show me the various vowel marks you can type using the top row of the keyboard. It will also show you other stuff, like for example the dagesh. So for example, if I want to type bet with the dagesh, I type bet and then Option. This is on the dagesh is on the taf here. Option taf, and the dagesh is added to the character. Now if you can also make the keyboard viewer bigger if you want. Click the green button and it's really huge and you can really see what everything does. So this is the keyboard viewer. Next thing on our plate is cantillation marks or ta'mim. And you cannot type ta'mim using the keyboard. You have to use the character viewer, which is again available from the input menu. Choose Show Character Viewer. Now you again, for some reason, have to configure this. In the past it was available immediately, but now you have to make Hebrew available in the character viewer, and you do that. You click this action menu and choose Customize List at the top. Now here you can choose the tables you want to see in this character viewer. I'll scroll down and look for Middle Eastern script. I'll open this, and here I have a list of Arabic, Hebrew, etc. Choose Hebrew. Done. And now I have Hebrew here added to the list. If I click that, I see the list of a table of the Hebrew characters. And this works, you can enter characters from here by double clicking. So I'll double click a letter, and it enters the letter. I can also enter the vowels here. So no, this is not a nice word. Now, of course, we can all do that all using the keyboard, and the main purpose is to actually add the cantillation mark. So you can choose, double click the cantillation mark, and it will be added. You can also combine vowels and cantillation marks. For example, I'll type bet, then I type the vowel, so option 4, for example, for chirik, and then I'll add a cantillation mark that comes below the letter, darga. I'll double click that, and as you can see, the chirik also moved, and this is a feature which is very specific to certain fonts, which are called open type fonts. And some of the open type fonts allow you to do that. On others, this might not look as good, the combinations of letters and vowels and cantillation marks. So if you want to type biblical text with cantillation marks, look for those fonts like SBL Hebrew, and there are many others freely available which can do this. So this is how you combine. So the rule here is to type the vowel and then type the cantillation mark. This is the standard. So this is how you do cantillation marks. Okay, so the next thing we want to discuss is directionality, and this is something that is really confusing to many people. And the first thing that is confusing is that people sometimes confuse direction with alignment. So a typical example would be that you get Mellel. Normally by default it looks like that. So you want to type Hebrew, so you align to the right, and you think that's enough, and then you try to type Hebrew, say Shalom, and the first thing you notice is that the cursor here blinks at the right. Now if I type period at the end, it will show up on the wrong side of the word. And so many people try to, I don't know, place the cursor here and then press the dot, and then everything is confused. So clearly this is not right, and sometimes they write to us and complain that the program doesn't work. But actually what happens here is that they forgot that the direction is not the same as the alignment, and you have to first set the direction of the paragraph and then the alignment. And to show you what this means is, I will do this. Let's use a center alignment, and let's type something that combines both Hebrew and English. So for example, I'll type Shalom, then I'll type hello, hello, and then I'll type Olam. Okay, so in Hebrew I said Shalom Olam, hello world, and in English, hello world. Okay, now the direction here at the moment is left to right, and what this means is that the program will show us the bits, the Hebrew bit, and then the English bit, and then the Hebrew bit, and then the English bit, according to the order from left to right, according to the order that I typed the letters. So Shalom, hello, Olam, world. Now this is usually not what I want. I want the program to lay out from right to left. So I'll choose the right to left direction using the paragraph direction button. I'll click that, and now this is correct. Shalom, Olam. Shalom, hello, Olam, world. So you have to set the direction according to the language of the text you're typing, even if you're mixing. So if you're mixing, you have a Hebrew paragraph with a few English words, you use right to left. This is your direction. If you are writing in English and you know, putting a few Hebrew words, then your direction should be left to right. Now, the alignment is something you do after you set the direction. And this is, if you remember that, and everything will be easier, because Mellel will adjust the alignment according to the direction, but not vice versa. So I'll show you what I mean by that. Choose left to right. I'll select all, delete. Now, normally this is how you start things, left to right, and then it's aligned to the left. So some people do that. They choose the right alignment, and then they choose the direction, right to left. And Mellel automatically flips the direction. So what you want to do is first set the direction correctly, so right to left, and then possibly use the alignment. Usually Mellel will just adjust it as you want. So if I'm starting from left to right and left align text, I choose the right to left direction, automatically it will align to the right, and I can just start typing. And as you can see, at the end of the sentence, the dot is on the right side of the letter. So this is the first thing you have to know about direction. Now, the second thing you have to know about direction is that it can get really complicated, and when you combine Hebrew and English. And normally the program will know what to do, the right thing to do, but there are some conditions, there are some states in the middle where it looks like it might not do the right thing. And my advice is always to finish typing what you want to say in the order you want things to be read, and only after that maybe do some adjustments to make it be laid out correctly. And I'll show you what I mean by that. For example, say I'm starting a sentence in Hebrew. Now I'm typing a word in English. Now I type space. Now, as you can see, the space was placed at the left of the English word, because Mellel doesn't know what's the next thing gonna be. Maybe I'm gonna continue typing in Hebrew, and this space is actually great. So, for example, like this. But maybe I want to write world and not something in Hebrew after the hello. And so the space is in the wrong side. And some people might try to correct Mellel and, move the space there, or, write to us complaining about this. But actually, if you just type world, as I type W, Mellel knows that this space is actually spacing between two English words and places the space in the correct place. So just let it do what it does. Only after you typed the entire thing you can know if Mellel actually knew what to do with the layout. So don't stop in the middle and try to correct it. Just type it at the order you intend to read it. So, and this is of course true the other way around. I'll do a left to right paragraph. So hello, now say shalom. If I type space, the space will take the direction of the paragraph, and this is good. If I want to continue writing in English, it's the right thing. But if I want to continue typing in Hebrew, then the space needs to be on the other side, and Mellel will put it on the other side if I just continue typing in Hebrew. So just trust it, and it will do the right thing most of the time. I would say 99% of the time, but there are some times where it doesn't, and I'll show you what I mean. For example, I'll type in Hebrew. I'll say Etmol, yesterday, Kaniti, I bought, iPad. Now I'll type 3. Now, it might be what I wanted to say. Yesterday I bought iPad 3, so the 3 probably belongs to the at the right of iPad. But sometimes I'll continue typing. I actually want to say so it says here, אתמול קניתי iPad 3 דקות לפני סגירת חנות. So it says I bought iPad 3 minutes before the closing of the store. So actually this 3 belongs to the Hebrew sentence. It's part of the flow of the Hebrew, and the 3 needs to be here. Now, how do I correct this? Some people might want to mess with the text and maybe try to type 3 before the iPad, but it will not work. If I type 3 and then iPad, it will not work, because actually it will know that the 3 is part of the Hebrew text. So אתמול קניתי 3. So it seems like you can't really control it, and then you write an angry letter to Redlex. But actually there is a way to make Mellel know what you mean. You type the sentence as you want it, and then what you want to do is to tell Mellel to break the sequence here, to tell it that this space is actually breaking the directionality. And for this we have a special element that's called a directionality breaking space. I will select this space, insert, breaks, and direction breaking space. So I'll click that, and voila, the text is correct. And this is how you can solve this type of issue. This is actually probably the only thing you might want to do correcting directionality errors in Mellel. Now, before we finish, I just want to mention another thing that we have in Mellel regarding direction, which is basically something you don't want to use. And in Mellel, it's an very old feature in character attributes. More, we have this direction pop-up, and I will not explain what it does, because what it does is really not very useful. We keep it for backwards compatibility, but some people find it and use it and try to control the direction of the text using that, and it really causes a lot of confusion. So always keep it on default. Don't touch it, don't use it. The only thing you need to know regarding directionality is to set the direction first according to the language of the text, of the main language of the paragraph, then set the alignment if needed, if it is not already correct, and that's it. And use the directionality breaking space if you have any kind of a strange Hebrew English right to left issue. So this is it for today. Hope you learned something, and see you next time. Bye bye.